Men, what's something women just don't understand? Story 1. I am not angry, there is just nothing worth talking about at the moment. Me. Her. Are you okay? Me. Yes. Why are you so quiet? What's on your mind? Nothing. There is clearly something on your mind. Just tell me. There's nothing on my mind. Do you trust me? Yes. You know that I open up to you about my thoughts, right? Yes. I want you to do the same with me. Okay, I will. Good. So please tell me what's on your mind. Nothing. Proceeds to have a 20-minute argument over trust and lack of communication. Woman here, that took me quite a while to understand. My ex always gave me the silent treatment and was always angry when he got quiet. After 13 years of that, the trauma is really hard to shake. It actually took my boyfriend getting mad, well, more annoyed at me, for me to understand how he gets mad, and if he is. He'll tell me. When he's quiet, I still feel like he's mad, but I can tell myself it's all in my head. My current partner does this all the time, like, my dude, I've known you for years. I know that it's not nothing. I'm not even asking you to tell me what to do if you don't want to, but I at least want an acknowledgement, like, I'm dealing with a lot of stress right now. I don't want to speak about it right now, but I'll let you know when or if I'm ready. Because the way my partner is, that nothing that's on his mind really fills the whole room, and I don't think he gets that. At least acknowledge it. I don't know if it's a men or woman thing, or if it's just a weird thing. But I was at the talkative party. Then I had a partner who told me that silence was okay, that each other's presence is just as comfortable and pleasant. When he communicated that, I absolutely understood, and that was that. I was a master at comfortable silence. Somehow he ended up becoming a yapper, and just ended up talking constantly sometimes. I think women connect by engaging, either by touch or conversation, so silence can be interpreted as not engaging, which could translate to anger, sadness, or whatever else. Wanting to interact is just a form of affection, I suppose. If y'all haven't tried it, I do recommend communicating it directly instead of just going, nothing. I had this exact conversation last night. I had a long day at work and thought I'd relax by playing video games for an hour before she got home. I got absolutely crapped on in ranked, Valorant, and it just pissed me off even more. So I turned off the games and turned on some baseball. She comes home to me sitting silently watching baseball. Is everything okay? Yeah, why? I feel like you're mad at me. Why would I be mad at you? I don't know, you're not saying anything. I'm watching baseball. Are you sure you're not mad at me? Yes. Story 2. I like intimacy too. I want to be hugged. I want to be complimented. And I don't want it to feel conditional because nearly everything in my life already is. Man, I feel this in my bones. Everything in my life feels so transactional. I just want some intimacy and compliments with no prompting or strings. Thanks for putting this so succinctly. I have a friend who recently went through a divorce. When I saw him and gave him a hug, he said, I think that's the first physical human contact I've had in about 2 weeks. I gave him another hug and now I see him. Blimey, it's been 21 months since I had a hug. I split with my wife, for good, 2 Christmases ago. I've noticed that none of my daydreaming or fantasizing whilst asleep involves anything sexual. The culmination of everything is always a lie-down cuddle. The fantasy is always some incredibly long-winded story and sometimes involves a girl I really like. It can take an hour, if I can't sleep, to get to the cuddling bit, and it's always satisfying. We really do need that kind of intimacy, both men and women. I'm just not down for a relationship just yet, though. I read on here that some women meet that market by offering professional cuddling services, so I took to Google and sure enough, they do. £850 for an all-night, fall-asleep cuddle, or $100 per hour. I thought that was an outrageous example of somebody taking advantage of touch-lonely people. I guess that if I was a millionaire, then I'd hypocritically take up the offer. It's been so long. I mean this with all the respect and love for you and men across the world, but for the love of everything, I hope men find a way to normalize platonic affection between each other sooner rather than later. You deserve to be hugged by your homies, and your masculinity shouldn't be threatened or sexually questioned by sharing affection with each other in the form of physical gestures, hand-holding, arm-touching, cuddling, etc. This comment section makes me both sad and frustrated for every single one of you. A woman shouldn't be your first answer to intimacy when there are so many other forms of it out there that are just as fulfilling and comforting. I wish you the best, and I'm terribly sorry that you're struggling with something like this. I truly hope you find your comfort. This. Within the last year, I've had to put my dog down, say goodbye to the woman who raised me and the house she raised me in, lose my best friend of 10 years and love of my life, same person, Had almost all of my friends back out of my life because they expected me to be a pillar of strength and support them all during this time, and finally lost my job. I had one male friend who was always overjoyed to see me at work. He made sure to give me hugs every time he saw me because he actually paid attention and saw how lost I was in my grief over so many things. I treasure this guy I've known for less than 2 years more than some of the people I have known for longer just because he was willing to give me hugs that lasted longer than 5 seconds. This hits. I'm so tired of everything feeling conditional, transactional, etc. Always feel like I have to provide some sort of value to anyone I interact with or else I won't matter to them. Hell, often even when I do everything in my power for the day to be productive, healthy, successful, etc., I come home and feel invisible, worthless, like nothing is changing or matters. I just miss having someone to give me affection regardless of what I did or what I accomplished at the end of the day. Hurts even more when you look back at the times when you did think you had that, but even that was conditional on how much you benefited their life, and then you start to question if you'll ever receive genuine affection. Story 3. I need a transition period when I'm done with work for the day, and don't immediately want to talk about my day. I worked at a call center when I dated my ex. It was 100 plus calls per day and I hated it. She could not get over the fact that I needed pretty much silent time after work for a bit before I could have a conversation. So her solution was to demand that we talk for 30 minutes when I got home, even setting a timer. I'm so glad to not have to deal with that anymore. Both the job and the relationship. Oh gosh, I have to remind my wife not to immediately start telling me about all the things that annoyed her at work as soon as I walk in the house. Sometimes I haven't even finished walking in the door. One foot is still outside and she runs up and starts complaining about someone, whom I don't even know, at work. Let me go walk the dogs and gradually transition to home mode first. This drives me crazy sometimes. On one hand, I absolutely love that I have a girlfriend waiting for me at home, one who greets me at the door when I come in and wants to chat my ear off about her day and hear all about mine. It's nice, but I also need that transition/decompress period. Sometimes I walk in the door and she's right there blocking the hallway and my way inside the house. I haven't even taken my shoes off, bag on my shoulder, and she's instantly going into details of her day that I'm just not ready to mentally dedicate energy to. Please just let me take my shoes off, put my bag down, and go sit next to the cat for a few minutes before bombarding me. It's funny you say this because my husband likes to unload about his day basically immediately, and I'm the one who's like, dude, please let me eat dinner in silence while we watch TV and then you can talk my ear off. He's also an only child, and to this day he will give his parents nearly every detail about his day, to the point where he actually keeps track of which specific days he's told them about, and which he hasn't. If he spoke with them last Friday but had only gotten to tell them about his life up to the previous Wednesday, then he wouldn't start his conversation with his parents with current events. He'd pick up where he left off. It's actually impressive how he remembers that much. If I called my parents and they asked me what happened 2 Thursdays ago, I'd have no idea. Damn, maybe I'm an outlier here, but I'm the complete opposite. My father taught me to leave work at work. Never carry that crap home. When I'm done with work, I'm done with work. I can have a horrible day. That's fine. When I'm home and off the clock, no way in hell is that crap affecting my personal time and normal day-to-day. The fact that people have upvoted this so significantly either shows a lot of y'all need a career change or just a mindset change. Never let work take any part of your personal life. That's on you. And you're a clown if you let that crap carry over into your home. Story 4. There's an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation where Beverly keeps making these elaborate breakfasts and then finds out that Picard only really wants coffee and croissants. I think about that a lot. As a woman who makes elaborate meals and constantly asks my partner what they want only to hear barbecue meat and tabbouleh every single time, this comment makes me very self-conscious. I now know I don't make the meals for him. I just want to feel appreciated. That's some dope realization right there, broski. I think there's also an expectation put onto us to do all these elaborate things for our partners. Though, at the end of the day, it's a bit selfish, while also making it feel like the other partner is selfish for not responding in kind. However, I also just like doing things for my partner. Like cooking. I like buying them things. I love it when they make things for me. So I think we should find out where to separate the things we do for our partners that's for ourselves and the things we do so that we can get attention and talk to our partners about how we can get the need for attention from them. Furthermore, we need to dissect where societal expectations exist and how they affect us. That's too much for my brain now, actually. I don't know if I'm overthinking it now, or if my brain is simply incapable of thinking that much. I've made some really damn fancy breakfasts. My favorite is making the Gordon Ramsay-style eggs and putting them into a vol au vent, basically a puff pastry bowl. But on a day-to-day thing, I'm just toasting up an English muffin, tossing an egg ring in a pan with a couple of slices of pork roll, adding a slice of cheese and making a home McMuffin because it's easy and filling and doesn't take much time at all. Story 5. That some of us can be a total brick wall when it comes to getting hints. Look, unless you bluntly tell me what you want, I'm not going to catch on to it, since I'm assuming it either doesn't have any meaning or you are just joking. Does not count for all men, of course, but still. Second this. I grew up with a girl who I was madly in love with, long before I knew what the word was. Said nothing because I thought she wasn't interested and I'd been friend-zoned. 20 years later, we're both married with kids and she asks, "Why didn't you take the hints when we were younger?" What hints? Damn, I'm oblivious. We have been conditioned to be bricks. The hints are sometimes the equivalent of other women just being nice and friendly, so at some point we just truck along thinking those hints are just acts of kindness, because we've been burned previously by supposed hints. I was on a day trip once with my then wife and kids. She tells me that she'd like to go to so-and-so's place to eat, but it's my choice, so I picked a different place. Then later she said she was upset that I didn't pick a so-and-so place. I'm like, if you tell me it's my choice, don't get mad if I make a different choice. What's worse is it doesn't always stop after marriage, and it takes new forms. Those 4 words come up in so many contexts. You should just know. Well, no, actually I am a completely separate entity with a unique consciousness, and I cannot in fact read your mind. Just communicate clearly. I'd go even further than this beyond the initial question and simply state that women are often very poor communicators. Yeah, I was gonna say that this doesn't just go for picking up hints when courting, it goes for relationships too. You can't expect everyone to be like an idealized partner from romance books or films or whatever, where the guy always knows exactly what you want, exactly when you want it. For example, there were a couple of times when my ex got annoyed at me because I'd tidied up a pile of stuff that included something she hadn't finished using, so I stopped tidying her piles of stuff unless she asked me to do it. Then, down the track, she got pissed at me for never tidying anything unless I was asked to do it. You should know what I want by now. I shouldn't be expected to know when what you want is inconsistent. In short, sometimes you just need to tell us what you want. Story 6. From my experience thinking about nothing, sometimes I like to just sit out on my deck in a nice chair, zone out, and have no thoughts. I've taken to calling it casual mediation. That's basically what a lot of guys are doing, trying to relax by clearing their heads and silencing their thoughts. People seem to understand the concept more often when framed that way. Parks and Rec made a joke about this with Ron belittling mediation while appreciating silence and clearing his mind. It just kinda clicked for me that that would be a way to explain it that a wider audience understands. I am a woman. I legitimately am never thinking about anything. When I'm on my deck, I'm like, how hard would it be to climb that tree? Could I do it with no rope? I need to refinish the deck. It would be fun to be a crow when I wanted. Ooh, a spider! I wonder where that plane is going. Obviously, they're not all deep thoughts or of interest to anyone but me. But there's never just nothing. Do you actually just have nothing, or is it passing random things of no consequence? I cannot imagine thinking about nothing. I don't know if I've ever experienced it. Even when I've done yoga during the meditation, I need to keep my eyes open and focus on something because if I close my eyes, my brain fills the lack of sight input with extra lanes of brain traffic. There are always at least 4 to 6 layers of thought going on. The only thing that allows it to go down to 2 or 3-ish is doing something with my hands. I believe the "what are you thinking about" comes from a mix of just not understanding what it is to think of nothing and anxiety. For me, if I'm silent, there are 3 reasons. I'm too occupied with an activity, or my many lanes of thoughts, or I'm upset and choosing not to talk. I think a lot of women assume that's how it is with their male partners. I have never really been with a true nothing person, but I also understand that nothing doesn't always mean nothing. It means nothing coherent or really interesting, and leave it at that. Because that's my go-to answer if someone asks me what I'm thinking about. I also understand they're not usually being literal and more asking if I'm upset about something, so I'll tell them, "Oh, nothing, just looking at the clouds or whatever to assuage any worry." Story 7. I think people are pretty aware of it by this point, but the impact of a compliment, especially from a woman, goes a long way for men. I was happily married and went to a bachelor/bachelorette party for my brother-in-law and his bride-to-be. Everyone was just partying and having a good time. I'm sober by choice and was just vibing as everyone drinks and smokes around me. As the sober one, I take care of things others don't remember to or are too drunk to, making sure the food doesn't burn, cleaning the spills, whatever, and I'm happy to do it. Randomly enjoying myself and playing some party games with everyone. A friend of the bride says only to me, "You're just a genuinely nice person. That's rare and great." I remember that. 2-second interaction as clearly as my wedding day or graduating from college. We know this. We rarely do it because, sadly, most men have done this to get weird fast. They can't just take it as a compliment. They start following us, insisting, trying to pick up on us even if we say no, become stalkery, etc. I try my best to still compliment everyone, but I can attest that it's gotten me in some pretty yucky spots, even despite me saying I'm married and it was just a compliment. I do hear this a lot, and my question is, why don't men compliment other men? A lot of men say they want this, so why don't more of them do it? Is it considered weird for men to compliment each other, and that's the change you're looking for? Women compliment each other all the time, but are hesitant to compliment men because it can get taken the wrong way pretty easily. I notice every man's example of a compliment that stuck is one that came from a woman. Do compliments from other men not count as a positive interaction, or do y'all just not do that? Does the compliment have to come from a woman? I have a thought. I read about this back at uni and decided to give as many compliments to guys as I could. I ended up with a handful of clingy men hanging around, making me quite uncomfortable, so I stopped. I know that if this was more normalized, the clingy guys would have no reason to crave more, but I also don't want to put women in this position. I've thought about this so hard over the years, and I then decided to encourage men to give each other more compliments, and then I'd jump in and support the compliment. Dan. Hey John, sick shoes or nice grill. Good on ya. Me. I agree. You have good taste. Where did you learn to cook like that? / congratulations, you must be so proud. Story 8. How damaging it is when we open up / be vulnerable to you, and you later use that against us when you are angry. Good lord, yes. I vented about work one day, and I got told that when I talk like this, she worries I'm going to lose my job. How stressful that is. What that would do to our future, how long it would take me to find something new, etc. Okay, got it. Don't complain about insignificant stressors at work. Then cut to, you never talk about your day. Don't you want to talk with me? It's work. Nothing good ever happens. If I can't share about stressful stuff, then I can't talk. For me, that's a fundamental breach of trust, equivalent to cheating. You do that, it's over. And I'm not giving second chances. I'm not going to be walking on eggshells around someone I don't trust and won't ever trust again. Life's too short to bother with crap like that. I've seen some people here say not all women, and you're right, but the argument is the same as not all men. Yes, it's not all, but it happens so often that a lot of people are just conditioned to behave a certain way. Women are wary of men for obvious reasons, and men not opening up because they had that experience before, or just heard about it, and don't want to even give someone a chance. Exactly the same. If that's something that women mostly do, then I am sorry. I don't do that with anybody, let alone my boyfriend, and this is why I don't do it. You have to create and maintain trust. You want your boyfriend to feel safe with you all the time and feel loved, even if you are pissed at him sometimes. I also just think that people who do this in general are embarrassing. Usually they are just projecting their anger onto you unhealthily. Good women / people do not do that. That is immaturity, not love. Took me forever to realize my ex used it against me to prevent me from leaving and trapped me. It took years to work through that to truly open myself up again to feel vulnerable with another person. I had no problem sharing, but I had that issue of actually letting my guard down and loving. Once I was able to train my brain that this person is not my ex, that they aren't going to do that to you, and it's not fair to assume they will, I was able to let people in again and honestly be a lot more understanding and emotionally mature. I never understood what emotionally unavailable meant until I took a step back from dating to figure out why it kept failing and realized I was emotionally unavailable and had to fix it if I ever wanted to love. Story 9. Having testicular cancer and nonstop hearing jokes and intrusive questions about having one ball and it being normal. Imagine making jokes about a girl who had her breast removed from cancer and your first thought is whether it's acceptable to make a how's right, or did they have to cut your boob open and suck it out? All things that were asked to me, without ever hearing, wow, that's horrible, or any sympathy. Ha. So I'm a dude, but I'm still sorry that you went through it. I also had it, but I went hard in the opposite direction. I was very public about it and requested that in lieu of sympathy, people send me their best ball/cancer jokes. I consider myself fairly forward-thinking and occasionally even responsible in some things, but even I was ashamed, embarrassed, and afraid to go to the frickin' doctor when my ball swelled up alarmingly. It was even affecting my sex life, which made my girlfriend chastise me. Hey, I like you, and I like that, and if something's wrong with that, it affects both of us. Please go get it checked. I chose to be really open about it and still crack jokes about it myself because men need encouragement from other men too. They need to see each other being vulnerable, open, and honest about their struggles, or they'll never be able to do so on their own. Since then, I've had no less than a dozen messages from friends who suspected a lump or had pain and wanted to know what they should do or what I would do. I'm not a doctor. I'm practically a stranger to some of my Facebook friends, but I was in a unique situation to say, hey, I was freaked out to get it checked too, and mine got far enough along before I dealt with it that I had to do chemo. Don't be me. Go get checked. Literally now. To the clinic with you. Out of about a dozen, over a half were nothing/normal. The other ones discovered an infection, torsion, a benign lump or nodule, and I think one actually ended up having cancer. Why MMV, but ball jokes can be your friend. And it stops being something that can hurt you when it becomes your joke. Fun ways to mess with people. They ask, how's it hanging? Solely to the right these days, thanks. If you trip, stumble, or meander off your path walking, and someone asks, sorry, I'm heavier on that side now. For people that ask how you are, oh, you know, having a ball. And if you get confused stares, but just the one. It usually results in laughter and people sharing slightly uncomfortable stories, which beats sympathy in my book, but again, your mileage may vary. Apologies for the novel, bro. I had an orchiectomy about 6 weeks ago for the same reason. Just finished up the first cycle of chemo. I actually don't mind the questions and will answer as best I can, but it's definitely been an eye-opener when it comes to the male/female perspective of boundaries on what's acceptable. I don't think I'd have had half the questions I've had if I was female, for the potential repercussions. There seem to be lines that can be tested with males that perhaps aren't there for the opposite sex. Story 10. We don't have anyone to talk to. When we have a bad day, we keep that crap to ourselves. We were taught not to burden our friends with our problems, and we know that odds are, if we communicate our frustrations of worries with a woman, there's a good chance it will fundamentally change the way she views us, and/or be used as ammunition in a fight against us sometime in the future. So we just keep things to ourselves. That's why when you ask us what we're thinking about and we say nothing, we mean it. Since nobody cares about our crap, we just learn to bury it deep down and let our minds go as blank as possible. I've been lucky enough to end up with the most caring, understanding, open to anything about anything, and empathetic wife I could ever wish or hope for. I'm not lying to her when I say that I feel like the luckiest man ever for having her in my life. I opened up to her, let her into my head, and told her some of the crap that runs around in there. But now, at this point, I'm scared as hell that anything more I say will make me less of a man in her eyes. She's seen enough. She knows what's in there. So, talking about it again or dumping more crap on her will just push her away. Grow the hell up and deal with your own crap. Which is not the way to go. And I'm working on it, but F me, it's hard as hell. How ironic that I've got to deal with my own crap in order to be more open with her about my crap. Honestly, I think it's super important for men to have men's friends and women to have women's friends, regardless of married/in a relationship or not. I feel married people really forget this. Married people think they need to be the complete sum of everything for their partner, and it's not so. Everyone needs a little time away from their partners simply for the reason of taking a break from their active life roles. Granted, there are those who say my partner is my BFF, and we do everything together. That's great, but most don't have that. At least at the minimum, both people in the relationship should have their night out with their friends, as this will be much needed peace and balance to their lives. I know so many couples that don't have friends outside of their relationship, and the majority of the time it ends badly. Story 11. The hungrier I get, the lower my standards. Women don't have that. They'll be starving, saying they don't know what they want. Meanwhile, I'll eat literally anything edible near me at a certain point. Setting: dinner time. Me: honey, you've had a busy day. Why don't we eat out? Her: no, I'm hungry, but I don't have the energy to change and go out. Well, I can always go out and pick something up. What would you like? Oh, I don't know, but that sounds better than cooking. Me offering a series of popular options we've had in the past. I don't know, you decide. Me, after getting a Pavlovian response to what I'm envisioning. Okay, I think I'll get blah blah blah. Her: silent, sour face. Me, struggling to not sound exasperated. Okay, well, what else might you like? Her: I think I'll just have cereal. There are leftovers in the fridge for you. Note to all women who have played in this scene: if you say, you decide, please don't disapprove of the decision. Oftentimes it's because there are simply too many options. Instead of, what do you want to eat? Try, guess where we're going to eat. Her guess is right. Go there. Do you want to go to X or Y? I'm in the mood for X. Are you in a specific mood? I've discovered that one of the big problems with the whole women choosing where to eat is that men want meals, like a plate full of food. The whole food pyramid. Oftentimes women just want girl dinner. Just a little thing to eat, not an entire plateful. So yeah, she's not in the mood for the menu, but she might feel like stealing fries. Story 12. Alone time. It's so often that my wife and I argue over me just being able to sit in my own company. It's a thing. We're able to just do nothing. It happens. It's not that I want to do anything. It's just that I need to be alone. Alone to plan. Alone to choose. Alone to choose the noises and distractions. Alone to eat and drink what I want when I want. I don't want it often, but when I need it, I need it. My partner is actually cool with it, although she doesn't empathize. I call it my name time. And when I feel the grumpiness coming on that comes with not getting it, I just pick a time that works for her and childcare and tell her I'm taking it. Keeps me sane. My wife has gone one step further and actively asks me if I need personal time. I might have had a super long and exhausting day at work. I come home and she's got dinner waiting for me, gives me a hug and a kiss, and tells me I'm free to do whatever I need for myself to relax. She's the best. Story 13. We can't read your mind. The best way to get something you want or need from us is to just tell us, with words. I think many women just want to know you love and care for them. They don't want to beg for your love and affection. They want you to do it because you want to do it, not because you're told to do so. Show her you love her, that you think of her throughout the day, that you're attracted to her, that you have affection for her. There are many ways to do this: buying her flowers because you thought it would make her smile, getting her favorite snack or drink because you thought of her, write her a note to show her you care, listen to what excites her, make mental or written notes, like her likes and feelings, and whatever you might find relevant. Give her a hug from behind just because she looks cute and you want to be closer. Placing your hand on her lower back, putting your hand on her leg, just to show her some physical affection. There are literally endless ways to show you love and care for her. The point is that you choose how to do so. I hope that helped anyone just a little bit. I'm going to disagree with your message here. The guy above said, I don't want to have to guess at what your needs are. And you said, summarized, women just want to know that you're thinking about them enough to figure it out. But we can't figure it out. We'd love to do the things that make you feel good and loved and respected and safe and all that good stuff, but we're going to take your word for things. We're not going to pick up hints. We're not going to stalk you around the house looking for things that you do that we can make a list about later to do for you. This is about communication. You know, that thing that women always say they want more of from their man. How many fights have you heard of where the guy starts off from a stance of, what did I do? And she's saying, you don't already know? Men tend to be straightforward, direct, and focused on simple communication. Y task leads to X goal sort of things. That said, you also can't expect us to keep track of everything all the time. My wife has a list of 100s of specific things. When I start to get a handle on 2 of them, 5 more come up as nuances of those 2, and other tasks that I never conceived of. Like, my definition of a deep, thorough kitchen cleaning is about 30 steps behind hers because I literally don't conceive of certain things that might need to be cleaned. They are not entities in my mind. The same goes for how I approach talking about things she's doing, like making her jewelry. Just today, I asked about a specific step, crushing some shells, and how it's going. I ended up coming up short of actually being chewed out because I suggested by the word crushing that she was trying to make it into powder, which is not what she wanted, which I already knew. She wants chips, and she tells me I'm playing word games. And all this clear communication without guesswork or innuendo, it goes 10 times for guys with autism. Thanks for watching until the end. If you have a similar story to these that you would like to share with us, please leave it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave us a like and subscribe. For more videos like this one right now, please stop by our channel. Thanks again, and see you next time.